Boku no suki na hito ga suki na hito. Or better known and much more easily said, My Crush's Crush. A new rom-com that currently has about 6 chapters out right now. And honestly, its pacing and the way that it's formulating its story is fantastic. More so when you're looking at the fact that this is a story that's based off of a love triangle. And I gotta say that with its premise, its interesting characters, and the rate of progression, I'm honestly pretty on board with this one. So let's get started and dive in. Hi guys, I'm Bayfond, and anytime that I see a rom-com start to do things right, it makes me want to talk about it. And that's no different with this one right here. Because when we first jump into this manga, we see that it lands with its feet on the ground. As we see our main MC, Sora Akizuki, just completely fail at a confession here. And who's the girl that he's confessing to? Oh well, that's someone by the name of Fuamiya. After he gets rejected, he gets advice from her sister about what's really going on and who he should talk to see if he might be able to get ahead with his methods. And who's this person that he should be talking to? Her crush. And when he goes into the club room to meet this person, he realizes that her crush wasn't a guy at all, and her name was Asahi Suzukaze, the crush's crush in this circumstance. And for any other romance manga, this would practically be it. This is the setup for the entire story, and it's gonna go on from here. You'd be getting Miya-san as like the female MC, and you'd be getting Akizuki just completely going for her at all times, but I would say this is where it diverges a little bit from the norm. Because you see, that's not the only My Crush's Crush in this story. As when we go down in the story a little bit more, Suzukaze basically gets Akizuki to basically come into the club and become a member. This club being the Trialing Club. What's that mean? It means that anything that's willing to be put on trial or something that people are considering about doing, this is where they come first to get things trialed out. Whether it be wearing costumes before other people have to put them on, or trying out experimental drugs and medicine and things like that, yeah, this is where they come. Suzukaze basically promises to Akizuki that if he comes into the club, she'll be the relationship coach. She'll teach him what he needs to know to get Miya to fall for him. And once Miya starts to notice that these two are hanging out a little bit, she gets nervous and a little bit worried because as it turns out, there's a whole reason for this Trialing Club to even exist in the first place. Because cut back a few years to the past, of course you need to, it's a rom-com, you're gonna have to focus on when they were kids. Suzukaze was sick in a hospital and needed to get treatment done. But the medicine that she was taking was just completely destroying her. I mean, that's the thing with medicine. Sometimes it's the double-edged sword. It makes you healthier, but in the short term, it just completely wrecks your system. So when she's hesitant to take her medicine one day, a boy comes over and basically takes it for her. He basically gulps down the entire thing, saying that if he can take it and not feel anything, then maybe so can she. Instantly making her fall for this boy. And this entire ploy of creating the club for trialing things is all to be able to try and see if she can get into his mindset and find out who he is, or maybe even if she can just get his attention. The person that she's looking for is the guy that just stumbled upon her room. And Miya-san knows this. She knows that the person that Suzukaze is looking for is Akizuki. But she'll be damned if she lets her crush's crush get to her first. Thus, there we go. The second iteration of it. A love triangle that goes both ways. And I'll say that this manga is actually pretty charming. Sure, there is a ton, and when I mean a ton of cliches in this. No real groundbreaking thing here to really change your mind on how rom-coms operate as a whole, but it just adds a little bit of flavor to the entire thing by just adding interesting characters. I mean, Suzukaze is basically a bit of a nutcase, desperately searching for this one person, and she thinks that this is the way that she's gonna be able to get them. Granted, it worked, but still, never came across her head that this could have just been like a one-time accidental thing. And when you look at Miya's perspective in all this, you understand exactly why she absolutely rejected the initial offer that Akizuki just proposed. I mean, she's gotta fight for her own thing too. This is her actual childhood best friend. The most surprising thing of all is how our MC is actually so mentally tough that he's actually still gonna go for her regardless of her hating him. Because is he a clueless and also somewhat dense MC? Yes, of course. The probability of that being the case was exponentially high, but he's an earnest dude and he's willing to work for it. So yeah, you could kind of root for him in that regard, but then again, he's also got amazing chemistry with Suzukaze. So yeah, there, the pick is yours. And the real meat is why I think it's such an engaging story is because of how the story is structured and how it progresses in a way that just makes sense. Slight spoilers ahead, but I would say that if you're worried about spoilers, just read the 6 chapters. It's not long at all, and then just come back here. This whole thing about Suzukaze-san being just completely unaware about who the Trial King's identity is just completely washed away in the 6th chapter. Because Miya accidentally fueled the fire in letting Akizuki reveal that story, basically without knowing any of the repercussions that would have. This kind of thing really subverts expectations for someone that's used to reading rom-coms. Because in most scenarios, this is a reveal that would be dragged out for many, many chapters. And when I say that, again, no exaggeration, hundreds of chapters. It's one of those things that basically once it's revealed, revealed, the manga is almost guaranteed to end maybe like next issue or 2 issues after. It's usually a done and set deal. And here, it's used as something to just prop the story forward, to just continue moving along, because this opens up a few different pathways. Now that Suzukaze is actually able to accept her feelings towards Akizuki, then she can actually, you know, try and go for him. But she has to overcome who? Her crush is Crush. So the evolution of where this part of the story is going to take us, I think, is going to be very fun. I can already imagine the shenanigans that are going to ensue inside of that club room. And the thing is, the series sets you up with an interesting premise already, and then just kept building up on that until we're at this point where it's like, okay, the story can really evolve from anything here. Although granted, when I first read this reveal, I was like, oh my god, is this series going to get axed like tomorrow? But it doesn't seem like it's the case, and it seems like it's going to be able to go on for quite a bit longer. And I would say it's a rom-com in probably one of the truest sense. It's very fun, it's very wholesome, it's very light-hearted. The worst part about this manga is that it releases on a monthly basis, so that we have to wait for the next ones to come out. And that's slightly disappointing there. But so far, if it continues with being as smartly written as it has been, I'm okay with that. Things that would be used as like misdirects and just to create artificial drama have been removed quite strategically. There was that red herring of Suzukaze going for that pretty friend that Akizuki has. You know, scum of the earth, real piece of work that guy is. But that was just completely bypassed by the reveal at chapter 6. And I think it did good. I would say if you're a fan of rom-coms, yeah, no question, read this one. You're gonna find it pretty enjoyable. And I think that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on this manga so far. As always, I was Bay Fun. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.